Now, with summer season comes, well, right now it already is summer season, the planning for vacations and out-of-town trips with family and friends is on its way. So joining us in the studio this morning is Tourism Assistant Secretary Benito Bengzon to help us decide on where to go. Good morning, ASEC Bengzon. Thank you for joining us
this morning.
Good morning, Claire. So, okay, let's start with, based on your past year's records, where do you think people go these days, especially tourists?
Well, we're now entering the most exciting travel period of the year, especially among Filipinos. No? Kids are excited, the parents are equally excited, and for sure we will see a surge in movement all over the country, both by foreign tourists and domestic travelers. What we're seeing over the last few years is that a greater number of Filipinos are now starting to move out of Luzon. So with the entry of the low-cost carriers, a lot of them have started flying to Palawan, to Cebu, to Bohol, to Boracay, and even as far down south, no, as Mindanao, Davao, Siargao. And for foreigners, they move around, pretty much in the same fashion as Filipinos. Of course, the strongest draw among foreign visitors continues to be our resorts, our beaches.
Our beaches. Now, what about those people that don't really want to go to the beach this summer? Are there other choices for them to go to?
Certainly. Now, the way tourism has developed over the last, I'd say, 5 to 10 years has been quite interesting and exciting because apart from what I would consider the traditional beach offers, you now have heritage tours, you have culinary tours, of course you have spa, wellness, and shopping. So we have quite a range of packages that we can offer just about to any tourist, coming to the Philippines.
Okay, and let's talk about recently there was a blog and somebody, the blogger mentioned or kind of ridiculed Filipino food and culture as well. And I think it was entitled, I'd rather go hungry than eat Filipino food. So how did that affect, did it affect in any way, how people look at Filipinos and our culture?
Well, first of all, that would be signs of the times. Just about anyone can make news these days, especially with social media. The question is, are we affected in a major way? Certainly not. Are we listening to those criticisms? Yes, because part of our approach, in tourism promotions is to hear out our clients, both the foreign travelers and the Filipinos as well. If there are complaints, then we listen to them. I think more important than anything else is addressing those concerns so that we can minimize, if not totally eliminate the problems and stay competitive.
Right, because particularly she mentioned street food, and maybe, of course, maybe she just had the wrong, she went to the wrong places, and obviously she didn't enjoy it, but that was just one person writing about it. So yes, I think there's probably a good chance that we can, I guess, promote Filipino culture through food as well, because we do have really good food in the Philippines.
Well, absolutely. I think it's an excellent way to promote the Philippines, for tourism in general. And in fact, you've seen this done quite successfully in a lot of countries around the region.
Right.
So I think the challenge for us now is to step up our efforts and really use culinary tourism in promoting the country as a whole.
Right. And now with the signing of the Bangsamoro Peace Pact in Mindanao, do you think that will boost tourism in the area?
Certainly. I've always found Mindanao to be a very exciting and attractive destination. I've been all over Mindanao, and I think when you have a more stable, more peaceful situation, then it helps promote tourism and travel. And we're very optimistic with the signing of the agreement. There will be more Filipinos and foreigners visiting the many attractions of Mindanao.
Yes, it is beautiful down there. And of course, the campaign, It's More Fun in the Philippines. Since that came out, how has that helped in tourism in the Philippines?
Well, if you look at the so-called tourism scorecard, last year was a banner year for us. We had about 4.7 million foreign visitors, generating about 4.5 billion US dollars. So you can just imagine the economic impact that can be attributed to tourism. But I'd say that the main reason that we are where we are is that we have adopted a very inclusive approach to the entire campaign. When we rolled out the campaign 2 years ago, we only had 3 versions or 3 memes of It's More Fun in the Philippines. But because a lot of Filipinos wanted to be part of the campaign, they started coming up with their own materials. They started taking photos, they started coming up with their witty captions.
Right.
And now we have about 70 to 80,000 memes, most of which are being used by the Department of Tourism in our own promotional materials, the brochures, the videos. So you can see that it's inclusive, it's very participative, and I think there's a very strong sense of ownership, among Filipinos.
Yeah, it's a genius, really. It's catchy, and when you see it in the airport when you arrive, it has that festive. It really tells a lot about the feel that you get when you are in the Philippines.
Well, credit goes to Secretary Mon Jimenez. He's the genius behind the campaign.
Okay, and together in the campaign, what else do you have lined up for? I guess this summer.
Well, for
this year,
we are still continuing with our Bengzon tours. No?
Okay.
This is our commitment to to helping out those who are affected by Typhoon Yolanda. Okay. So we initiated this program called Bengzon Tours together with some participating agents, wherein we offer, through the agents, we offer packages to selected destinations. And part of the proceeds will go to the rehabilitation, redevelopment of the affected communities. And so far, the response has been very encouraging.
Okay, so Bengzon Tour, would it be traveling to the areas affected?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We still promote I'd say the flagship destinations like Baguio, Boracay, Bohol, Cebu, Davao. But the more important thing is that it now allows the traveler to take part in the rehabilitation, because part of what he actually pays the travel agent will now be used for rehabilitation and redevelopment.
Okay, and now what do you think are the emerging destinations to go to? Maybe let's say for this year.
That's a tough one. Okay, but
personally,
I think what we're seeing now is that in the olden days, in the so-called olden days, when you wanted cool weather, you'd go up to Baguio.
Right.
When you wanted the beach, you go to Batangas or Cavite. But nowadays, the interests are very specific. So if you want culinary tours, you go Quezon, you go Pampanga, you go to Bulacan. If you want surfing, there's an excellent surf camp in La Union, in San Juan. If you want to go further out, you go to Baler, Aurora. If you want to go even further out, you go to Catanduanes. No? There's a surf camp in the municipality of Baras. Mm-hmm. Of course, for those who are willing to travel all the way to Mindanao, there's Siargao. But that's just surfing. So you can just imagine diving. Anilao, Malapascua in Cebu, Balikasag in Bohol. So, I mean, I'm a nature person. So, if you notice, I've been mentioning all these resort and water-based attractions. But like I said, there's a whole range to choose from.
Right, and but these are the water-based attractions are, I guess, one of the highlights that we do have here in the Philippines right now.
Oh, well, archipelago, 7,000 islands.
Exactly.
So it's but natural that the draw or the attraction will come from our islands, from our resorts.
Okay. Now, but why do some Filipinos still choose to not travel? What are the roadblocks that are possibly stopping them from traveling?
I would say primarily pricing, or the expenses rather. There are still some Filipinos who are not able to travel because of, the cost factor. But, the nice thing about it is that like I said, with the entry of the low-cost carriers, it's a lot cheaper now to fly to Visayas in Mindanao. And to a lot of Filipinos, travel is no longer a luxury. In fact, to many, it's a necessity. If you want a break, if you want to remove your stress, then you go out with your friends, with families, and I think it's a good sign. But I think more important is that there's a deeper sense of appreciation of our history, our culture, and this was this was manifested in the way the Filipinos supported the campaign.
So if it's price, there are places that do not cost as much, correct? And I think where can they find maybe a list of places that they can go to? Are there resources that you are providing for Filipinos to maybe take a look at and and choose where they could go for this summer, for the year at least?
The tour packages are offered by the tour operators, and there's an association called the Philippine Tour Operators Association, PhilToA. So if you visit the website, you have the entire menu of packages, and you'd be surprised. There are packages that go for as low as 900 pesos. Okay,
per
person.
Okay.
But for those who want, for those on a tighter budget, so to speak, there are a lot of day trip options just outside of Metro Manila. You can just hop on your car, you do the Laguna circumferential route that takes you to all the historical towns of Paite, Pakil. So there are a lot of options these days.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Asek, for coming in and talking with us today about all these places and destinations and what's really going on in the tourism industry right now here in the Philippines. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.